The last time I saw my car, it was sitting in our driveway with a sold sign taped to the windshield. My name is Viviana, and that cherry red Honda Civic wasn't just transportation, it was proof that I could survive anything. Every dent, every scratch, every mile on that odometer represented something my father never gave me: independence earned through blood, sweat, and grease-stained uniforms. I bought that car with money I scraped together, working double shifts at Murphy's Diner, tutoring bratty middle schoolers in algebra, and selling every piece of jewelry my mom left me except her wedding ring. 3 years of sleeping 4 hours a night, living on ramen and Spite, while Dad spent his evenings wine tasting with his new girlfriend instead of helping me figure out college applications. The engagement announcement came on a Tuesday. Dad called it a family meeting, which was rich considering we hadn't functioned as a family since Mom died 4 years ago. "Sylvia and I are getting married next month," he said, not even looking at me. "Small ceremony, just immediate family." Sylvia smiled that practiced smile she wore like expensive perfume, overwhelming and fake. "I'm so excited to officially be part of this family, Viviana. Beckett is too." Beckett, her 18-year-old son, didn't look up from his phone. Kid had the personality of wet cardboard and the work ethic to match. He'd barely graduated high school while I was pulling a 3.8 GPA and working 25 hours a week. "That's great," I managed. "Congratulations." Dad finally met my eyes. "We're thinking of making some changes around here. Fresh start, you know." The way he said it made my stomach drop, but I nodded anyway. I was good at nodding. 4 years of practice. A week later, I came home from my shift at the diner to find the driveway empty except for Dad's BMW and Sylvia's white SUV. My parking spot, the one I'd claimed by virtue of actually paying for the privilege, was vacant. I found them in the kitchen, sharing a bottle of wine like they were celebrating something. "Where's my car?" I asked. Dad didn't even flinch. "I sold it." The words hit me like cold water. "You what?" "Beckett needs transportation for college. The money from your car will help cover his first semester." "My car?" My voice cracked. "The car I bought? With my money?" Sylvia set down her wine glass with a delicate clink. "Sweetie, we're a family now. Families help each other. Beckett has such potential. He just needs a chance. I worked 3 jobs for that car, and now you're helping your stepbrother get an education," Dad said, his voice flat. "It's called sacrifice, Viviana. Something you'll need to learn if you want to be part of this family." I stared at him, this man who'd raised me for 19 years, who'd held me when I cried about boys and taught me to drive in that same car he just sold. "You didn't even ask me. I don't need to ask permission to make decisions in my own house. It wasn't your car to sell." Dad stood up, and for a moment I saw something ugly flash across his face. "Everything in this house belongs to me, including you. You're 19 years old, with no job prospects and mediocre grades. I have a 3.8 GPA and a partial scholarship. Beckett has real potential. He's going to study business, maybe take over the firm someday. He's more of a son to me than you've ever been a daughter." The kitchen went silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. Sylvia looked uncomfortable for the first time since I'd met her. Even Beckett glanced up from his phone. I felt something break inside my chest, something that had been cracking for 4 years since Mom died and left me alone with this stranger who wore my father's face. "Where are my keys?" I asked quietly. "Viviana." "Where are my keys?" Dad pulled them from his pocket and set them on the counter. "The buyer is picking it up tomorrow morning. I already signed the title." I picked up my keys to my car that I'd earned, and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" Sylvia called after me. I turned back to look at them. Dad with his guilty defiance, Sylvia with her fake concern, Beckett already back to scrolling through his phone like my entire world hadn't just collapsed. To say goodbye to the last real thing I had, That was the moment I stopped begging to be loved and started planning their downfall. 3 weeks earlier, I'd been sitting in Olivia's law office, fidgeting with my mom's wedding ring while she shuffled through paperwork. "Your father's been asking a lot of questions about your assets," Olivia said, adjusting her reading glasses. She'd been Mom's estate lawyer and the closest thing to family I had left. "Specifically, about the car." "What kind of questions? Whether it's considered part of the household property, whether he has any legal claim to it." She leaned forward. "Viviana, I think you should transfer the title into your name only. Today. It's already in my name. It's in your name with him as co-signer because you were 17 when you bought it. That gives him certain rights." She pulled out a form. "This removes him entirely. The car becomes yours, legally and completely." I signed the papers that afternoon. Best decision I ever made. Now, standing in that same office 48 hours after Dad's little announcement, I slid a copy of the title across her desk. "He sold my car without my permission," I said. "The title is in my name only. What does that make this?" Olivia's eyebrows shot up. "Theft. Grand theft auto, technically, since the car is worth more than $500. Can we prove it?" She picked up her phone. "We're about to." The police report took 20 minutes to file. Officer Martinez was surprisingly understanding when I explained the situation. "Happens more than you'd think," he said, handing me a case number. "Parents think they own everything their kids have. Law says otherwise. What happens next?" "We'll need to recover the vehicle and freeze any funds from the illegal sale. You'll need to press charges." "Against my own father?" Officer Martinez shrugged. "He stole your car, miss. Family or not, theft is theft." I called Athena from the parking lot of the police station. "Please tell me you're kidding," she said after I explained everything. "Dead serious. Can you help me with something?" "Anything. I need you to set up monitoring on some financial accounts. Sylvia's been posting about their spending on social media, restaurants, shopping trips, Beckett's college prep courses. I want to know where that money's coming from." "You think they're in financial trouble?" "I think Dad wouldn't sell my car unless he was desperate, and desperate people make mistakes." Athena was quiet for a moment. "Send me their names and any account information you can find. I'll see what I can dig up." That night, I sat in my dorm room with my laptop, scrolling through public records. Dad's name appeared on several recent documents: a refinanced mortgage, 2 credit card applications, and something that made my blood run cold: a lien against Mom's life insurance policy. My phone buzzed with a text from Athena. "Holy shit, V. Your dad owes the IRS 30 grand in back taxes. And get this, Sylvia's been married twice before. Both divorces involved financial irregularities." I screenshot everything and sent it to Olivia. The next morning, I positioned myself across the street from Dad's house with a coffee and my phone camera ready. At exactly 9 a.m., 2 police cars pulled into the driveway. I watched through my camera as Officer Martinez knocked on the front door. Dad answered in his bathrobe, and I could see his face change from confusion to panic in real time. Sylvia appeared behind him, still in her silk pajamas, gesturing wildly. Even from across the street, I could hear her voice rising. "This is harassment. We bought that car legally." "Ma'am, the title shows the vehicle belongs to Viviana Richardson. The sale was conducted without the owner's consent. She's his daughter. He has every right." "Actually, ma'am, he doesn't." That's when they brought out the tow truck. Sylvia completely lost it. She ran into the driveway in her pajamas, screaming at the tow truck driver, trying to physically block him from hooking up my car. A neighbor started recording on their phone. "You can't take that. My son needs it for college. This is theft." "Ma'am, please step back," Officer Martinez said calmly. "The vehicle is being returned to its rightful owner." Dad just stood there, watching his new wife make a spectacle of herself while the neighbors gathered on their porches. His perfect suburban image crumbling in real time. The tow truck pulled away with my car, and I followed it to the impound lot, where I signed more paperwork and handed over my keys, my real keys, not the copies Dad had made. "She's all yours," the clerk said. "Looks like she's been well taken care of." I ran my hand over the hood, checking for damage. Not a scratch. Dad might be a thief, but at least he wasn't careless. My phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had already posted Sylvia's meltdown on the neighborhood Facebook page. The video had 37 comments and counting. I got in my car, started the engine, and drove home to my dorm. In my rearview mirror, I could see Dad's house getting smaller, but the satisfaction in my chest kept growing. Round 1, Viviana. The interrogation lasted 3 hours. I know because Athena had positioned herself at the coffee shop across from the police station, timing everything while pretending to study. She texted me updates every 30 minutes. "Your dad just came out looking like he aged 10 years, she wrote. "Sylvia's been pacing the parking lot chain smoking. Didn't know she smoked." "She doesn't," I replied. Stress brings out everyone's true colors. The funds from my car sale, all $8,000, were frozen pending investigation. Dad couldn't access the money, which meant Beckett's tuition payment bounced. The college sent a very polite letter explaining that his enrollment was temporarily suspended pending resolution of financial documentation irregularities. Beckett called me screaming, "You ruined my life! I was supposed to start classes next week." "You ruined your own life when you helped steal my car," I said calmly. "How does it feel to have your future yanked away without warning?" "Dad said you'd understand eventually." Dad said a lot of things. Most of them were lies. He hung up on me. The neighborhood Facebook drama exploded overnight. Someone had filmed Sylvia's second meltdown when the police came back with a warrant to search their financial records. This time, she'd thrown a potted plant at Officer Martinez. "Sylvia loses it again," read the post caption. It had 200 shares and counting. The comments were brutal. "Always knew something was off about that family." "Poor Viviana. Imagine having your own father steal from you." "Sylvia's true colors are showing. Remember when she tried to get the Henderson's dog taken away because it barked?" I screenshotted everything and sent it to Athena with a laughing emoji. 3 days later, I drove my scholarship-sponsored hybrid to campus. The financial aid office had approved my application for emergency transportation assistance after I explained my situation. The car was small, efficient, and completely mine. No co-signers, no family drama attached. I parked in the same spot where I used to park my Honda and walked to my first class of the semester. Professor Williams was discussing contract law when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is your father. We need to talk." I deleted it without responding. That evening, I sat in my dorm room with a box I'd retrieved from storage, Mom's personal papers that Dad had never bothered to go through. Most of it was mundane: old bills, insurance documents, appointment cards. But buried at the bottom, I found something that made my hands shake. A journal entry dated 2 months before she died. "Douglas thinks I don't know about the credit cards he's been opening in my name. He thinks I don't see the bills he intercepts. I've been documenting everything. If something happens to me, I want Viviana to know the truth about what kind of man her father really is." There were photocopies of statements, forged signatures, loan applications, all in Mom's name, all signed by Dad. She'd been building a case against him before cancer took her away. I called Olivia immediately. "I need to see you. Tonight, if possible. I found something." "How bad is it?" "Bad enough that I think Mom knew she was married to a criminal." Olivia's office was dark except for her desk lamp when I arrived at 9 p.m. She examined each document carefully, occasionally making notes. "This is fraud," she said finally. "Identity theft, forgery, possibly tax evasion. Your mother was very thorough. What can we do with it? We can destroy your father's life." She looked up at me over her glasses. "The question is, how far are you willing to go?" I thought about Dad's words. "He's more of a son to me than you've ever been a daughter." "As far as it takes." The next morning, I found a thick manila envelope on my dorm room door with no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper, a copy of my car's title with a handwritten note. Next time, look closer before you steal from someone who learned from the best teacher, watching you destroy everything you touch. V. I'd had Athena deliver it to Dad's house at 6 a.m., right when he'd be getting his morning paper. The neighbors would see the delivery, wonder about the official-looking envelope, maybe ask questions. My phone rang 5 minutes later. Dad's number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again and again. By noon, he'd called 17 times. I didn't answer any of them, but I listened to every voicemail. They started angry, moved to desperate, and ended with something that sounded almost like begging. Viviana, please, we can work this out. I made a mistake. Call me back. I saved every message and forwarded them to Olivia. Evidence of harassment, she said when I called her. Keep documenting everything. This is just the beginning. That night, Athena sent me a link to the neighborhood Facebook page. Someone had posted a photo of Dad's house with 3 for sale signs in the yard. Looks like the Richardson family is having some financial difficulties, the caption read. The comments were already starting. Dad called 32 times in one day. I counted because Athena was keeping a spreadsheet of his harassment attempts. She'd turned it into a drinking game. Every time he called, we took a sip of coffee. By 3 p.m., we were both jittery from caffeine and laughing at his increasingly desperate voicemails. Viviana, this has gone far enough. I'm your father, for God's sake. Your father seems to have forgotten that family works both ways, Athena said, marking another tally on her notebook. The real entertainment started when Sylvia turned on him. I knew this because Mrs. Henderson from next door had started a group chat with half the neighborhood, sharing updates like she was reporting live from a war zone. Sylvia just threw a suitcase out the front door, she texted. Douglas is standing in the driveway in his underwear trying to pick up his clothes. She's screaming something about him scheming behind her back and ruining her reputation, added Mrs. Chen from across the street. Wait, she just threw his golf clubs. One almost hit the mailman. I screenshot the entire conversation and sent it to Athena with crying laughing emojis. But the real chaos started when Beckett decided to cope with his college rejection by going completely off the rails. Your stepbrother just crashed into the Hendersons' fence, Athena said, bursting into my dorm room with her laptop. It's all over Instagram. She showed me the video. Beckett stumbling out of Sylvia's white SUV at 2 a.m., clearly drunk, trying to explain to the police why he'd plowed through 3 mailboxes and a decorative garden gnome. I was just trying to get home, officer. My family's going through some stuff right now. Son, have you been drinking? Define drinking. The arresting officer was not amused. Oh, it gets better, Athena said, scrolling to another post. Look what I found in his college application. She'd pulled up Beckett's admissions essay, the one that had supposedly gotten him into State University before the tuition payment bounced. I read the first paragraph and my jaw dropped. This is from a sample essay website, I said. He copied it word for word. Every single paragraph. I ran it through plagiarism software. It's a 98% match to an essay titled Why Business School Will Change My Life, posted on essayexamples.com 3 years ago. I stared at the screen. He didn't even bother to change the name of the university. Nope. Still says Northwestern in paragraph 3, even though he applied to State. Send this to State's admissions office. Already did. Anonymous tip from a concerned citizen who noticed irregularities in the application. The response came back within hours. Beckett was permanently blacklisted from the university system for academic fraud. Not suspended, blacklisted. As in, he could never apply to any state school again. Sylvia's reaction was nuclear. The neighborhood group chat lit up around dinner time. She's back outside screaming at Douglas. Something about your daughter destroying our lives. Wait, she just said something about lawyers. Douglas is shaking his head. Oh my God, she just slapped him. Someone's recording this on their Ring doorbell. Posted to Facebook already. 47 shares in 10 minutes. I clicked the link Mrs. Henderson shared. The video was grainy, but the audio was crystal clear. How did that girl outsmart you? You're supposed to be the smart one. You're supposed to be in control. Sylvia, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. My son's future is ruined because your daughter is a vindictive little... She's not vindictive. She's smart. Smarter than I gave her credit for. So you're taking her side now? I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm trying to figure out how to fix this. Fix this? Douglas, we're broke. The IRS is auditing us. Beckett can't get into any college. Our neighbors think we're criminals. How exactly do you plan to fix this? The video cut off there, but the damage was done. Within an hour, it had been shared to 3 different Facebook groups, and someone had posted it on TikTok with the caption, "When you mess with the wrong daughter." My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We need to talk. This ends now." "Dad." I showed it to Athena. "You going to respond?" "Eventually, but not yet. Let him sweat a little longer." "How much longer?" I watched the view count on Sylvia's meltdown video climb past 500 shares. Comments were pouring in from people I'd never heard of, all taking my side, all calling Dad and Sylvia exactly what they were, thieves and bullies who'd finally met their match. Until they realized that this isn't about the car anymore, I said. This is about 4 years of being treated like I don't matter. This is about Mom's memory being disrespected. This is about them learning that actions have consequences. And how long will that take? I smiled, watching another notification pop up. Someone had created a hashtag, #Justice for Viviana. However long it takes. The package arrived on a Tuesday with no return address, just my name written in block letters across brown paper wrapping. Inside was a manila folder thick with documents and a handwritten note. Thought you should see what your father's been hiding. K. Walton, Kelvin, Olivia's brother, the private investigator she'd mentioned in passing. I'd never met him, but apparently he'd been doing some digging. I spread the papers across my dorm room floor. Bank statements, loan applications, insurance documents, all with Dad's signature, but not all in his name. The first document made my stomach drop. A loan application from 2 years ago. Dad had used Mom's Social Security number to secure a $15,000 personal loan 18 months after she died. "Athena, get over here," I called, my hands shaking as I flipped through more papers. "Bring coffee, strong coffee." She arrived 20 minutes later with 2 large cups and took one look at my face. "What did you find?" "Dad's been using Mom's identity for years. Look at this." I showed her a credit card statement dated 6 months after Mom's funeral. The billing address was our house, but the name was Marin Richardson, my dead mother. "Holy shit," Athena whispered. "He's been committing identity theft against his own dead wife? It gets worse." I pulled out another document. "Remember Mom's life insurance policy? The one that was supposed to pay for my college? The one that mysteriously wasn't enough to cover your expenses? Turns out it was $75,000. Dad used $30,000 of it to pay off credit card debt, $20,000 as a down payment on Sylvia's engagement ring, and another $15,000 for Beckett's private high school tuition." Athena stared at the papers. "What about the remaining $10,000? I held up a bank statement. Vacation to Europe with Sylvia last summer while I was working double shifts to pay for textbooks. This is fraud, like serious federal crime fraud. There's more." I pulled out a folder labeled Insurance Claims. Dad filed a claim on Mom's car insurance after she died, saying the car was totaled in an accident, collected $8,000, and then sold the car privately for another $5,000. "But your mom's car wasn't totaled." "No, it's sitting in Sylvia's driveway. She's been driving it for 2 years. Athena sat back on her heels. Your father is a genuine sociopath. My phone rang. Olivia's number. Did you get Kelvin's package? She asked without preamble. I'm looking at it now. How long has he been investigating? Since your mother got sick. She hired him when she started suspecting Douglas was stealing from her medical fund. She never got to see the final report. Mom knew? She suspected. The evidence Kelvin gathered confirms everything. Your mother was building a case against your father when she died. I picked up a document I hadn't noticed before. A handwritten letter in Mom's shaky handwriting, dated a week before she passed. Olivia, there's a letter here, from Mom. Read it. My voice cracked as I read aloud. If something happens to me, I want Viviana to know that her father stole from us. He took money meant for her education, her future, her security. I documented everything because I knew she'd need proof someday. Douglas thinks he's smart, but he's just greedy, and greedy people always leave trails. Athena grabbed my hand. There's more, I continued reading. I've set aside money in an account he doesn't know about. Olivia has the details. It's not much, but it's clean money, money he never touched. Use it to fight back, baby girl. Use it to show him that stealing from family has consequences. The account has $12,000 in it, Olivia said quietly. Your mother saved it from her part-time job at the library. Every penny accounted for. I wiped my eyes with the back of my hand. What do I do with all this? We take it to the authorities, the IRS, the FBI Fraud Division, the State Attorney General. Your father committed multiple felonies. Will it stick? With this evidence, he's looking at 5 to 10 years minimum. After I hung up, Athena and I sat in silence for a long time, surrounded by the proof of Dad's betrayal. You know what the worst part is? I finally said. What? He made me think I wasn't worth investing in, made me believe I had to earn every scrap of love and support. Meanwhile, he was stealing my inheritance to buy jewelry for his girlfriend. What are you going to do? I gathered up the documents and put them back in the folder. I'm going to visit Mom's grave. I need to tell her I'm going to finish what she started. And then I picked up my phone and scrolled to the contact information for the IRS fraud hotline that Kelvin had thoughtfully included in his package. Then I'm going to make sure Dad learns the same lesson he tried to teach me, that actions have consequences, even if it means he goes to prison. I looked at the letter in Mom's handwriting, at the proof of years of theft and lies, especially if it means he goes to prison. The IRS moved faster than I expected. Dad's accounting firm received a visit on Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, his name was being whispered in every office building downtown. By Friday, he was taking a leave of absence to handle personal matters. Translation: he's radioactive, Athena said, reading the company's press release on her phone. No one wants to hire an accountant who's under federal investigation for tax fraud. The banking institutions moved even faster. Sylvia got served with papers on Saturday morning while she was getting her nails done. According to Mrs. Henderson's play-by-play in the neighborhood chat, Sylvia screamed so loud that 3 other customers left without paying. The bank wants to examine every transaction from the past 5 years, I told Olivia during our Monday meeting. How screwed are they? Completely, especially since Beckett drained their savings account last week. He what? Olivia pulled out a bank statement. Your stepbrother withdrew $8,000 in cash over 3 days. ATM records show he hit 5 different machines between here and Atlantic City. He gambled away their emergency fund? What emergency fund? They've been living paycheck to paycheck for months. The house is mortgaged to the hilt. They have 6 maxed out credit cards, and now the IRS has frozen their primary accounts. I stared at the numbers. They're broke. Worse than broke. They're in debt up to their eyeballs with no way to pay it back. That's when Beckett decided to get creative with his income sources. Athena discovered it first, scrolling through a sketchy app called Quick Cash where people sold everything from used furniture to questionable services. Look at this, she said, showing me her phone. User profile Beckett C18, selling premium tutoring services and academic assistance. I read the listings. He's selling fake transcripts and forged recommendation letters. Gets better. He's also offering to take online classes for people for $500 a pop. That's academic fraud on a massive scale. And identity theft, since he's using fake student IDs. Athena scrolled through more listings. Oh, and he's selling authentic designer handbags that are obviously knockoffs from China. Screenshot everything. Already did. Also reported him to the app, the Better Business Bureau, and the local police. The arrest happened Tuesday morning. Beckett was in handcuffs by 10 a.m., charged with wire fraud, identity theft, and operating an unlicensed business. The local news picked up the story because of the connection to Dad's ongoing investigation. Son of embattled accountant arrested in online fraud scheme, read the headline. Dad showed up at my campus that afternoon. I was walking out of my economics class when I saw him standing by the student center, looking like he'd aged 10 years in 2 weeks. His usually perfect hair was messy, his expensive suit wrinkled, and he had the hollow-eyed look of someone who hadn't slept in days. "Viviana!" I kept walking. "Please, just 5 minutes, I'm begging you." Students were starting to stare. A few had their phones out, probably recognizing him from the news coverage. "You're embarrassing yourself," I said without stopping. "I don't care. I need to talk to you." "Now you want to talk? Where was this energy when you were stealing my car?" He grabbed my arm. "I made a mistake, okay? I was desperate. The business was failing. Sylvia was pressuring me about Beckett's future. Let go of me. I never meant for it to go this far. I thought you'd understand eventually. You thought I'd roll over and take it like I always do." I pulled my arm free. "You thought wrong. I'm your father." The words echoed across the courtyard. A small crowd had gathered, phones definitely recording now. "You lost the right to call me daughter the day you sold me out." I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only he could hear. "It was all her idea, huh? That's funny because I have a recording of you admitting otherwise." His face went white. "What recording?" "The one where you told your golf buddy that you needed to teach me a harsh life lesson about how the real world works. The one where you bragged about showing me my place in the family hierarchy." "Viviana, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're a thief, a liar, and a fraud. And now everyone else understands it too." I walked away, leaving him standing there while students whispered and pointed. Someone had definitely gotten it all on video. By evening, "Desperate Dad Confronts Daughter on Campus" was trending on TikTok. The comments were brutal. "This is what happens when you mess with the wrong kid. Dad really thought she'd just forgive and forget. Delusional. The audacity of this man showing up at her school after stealing from her. She handled that with more grace than he deserved. That night, Sylvia filed for legal separation. The papers cited irreconcilable differences and financial malfeasance as grounds for ending the marriage. "She's trying to distance herself from the criminal charges," Olivia explained when she called with the update. "Smart move, legally speaking. Will it work?" "Not with the evidence we have. She benefited directly from the stolen money. The engagement ring alone is enough to implicate her." I hung up and looked out my dorm window at the campus quad, where students were walking to evening classes and study groups, living normal lives without federal investigations and family warfare. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This isn't over. D." I screenshot it and forwarded it to Olivia with a message. "Add this to the harassment file." Then I blocked the number and went back to studying for my midterms. Some things were more important than Dad's threats. The recording I mentioned to Dad, it was real. 3 weeks before he sold my car, I'd planted a voice recorder in his home office. Call it paranoia. Call it intuition. I knew something was coming, and I wanted proof of whatever he was planning. The device was smaller than a thumb drive, stuck under his desk with magnetic tape. It had been recording everything for weeks: phone calls, meetings with Sylvia, conversations with his lawyer. But the conversation I was looking for happened on a Tuesday night, 2 days before my car disappeared. Dad was on the phone with his golf buddy Marcus, bragging about his brilliant parenting strategy. "She's gotten too comfortable," Dad's voice said through my laptop speakers as Athena and I listened in my dorm room. "Living here rent-free, acting like she owns the place. It's time she learned how the real world works." "What are you planning to do?" Marcus asked. "Sell her car. Use the money for Beckett's tuition. 2 birds, 1 stone. She learns about sacrifice, and my stepson gets the education he deserves." "Douglas? That seems harsh. Didn't she buy that car herself?" "With what money? Everything she has came from me indirectly. The job I helped her get, the roof over her head, the food she eats. It's all connected. She needs to understand that family means making sacrifices for each other." "And if she doesn't see it that way?" Dad's laugh was cold. "Then she'll learn the hard way that I'm still the parent here. I'm teaching her a valuable lesson about hierarchy and respect. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind." "You sure Sylvia's okay with this?" "It was her idea. She pointed out that Viviana's been acting entitled lately, like she's better than the rest of us. This will humble her." Athena paused the recording. "Holy shit, V. This is damning. Keep listening. It gets worse." The conversation continued with Dad detailing his plan. How he'd forge my signature on the title transfer. How he'd present it as a done deal so I couldn't argue. How he'd frame it as a family decision that I had no choice but to accept. "The beauty of it is she can't do anything about it," Dad said. "She's 19, financially dependent, and legally I still have rights as her father. By the time she realizes what happened, the money will be gone, and Beckett will be enrolled. What's she going to do, call the police on her own father?" Marcus sounded uncomfortable. "I don't know, Douglas. This feels like it could backfire. Trust me. I know my daughter. She'll be upset for a while, but she'll get over it. She always does. She's too soft to fight back." That was the line that sealed his fate. I'd spent 2 weeks editing the audio, isolating the clearest parts, and creating a transcript. Then I sat on it, waiting for the right moment to deploy it. The moment came when a local news reporter reached out for comment on Dad's fraud investigation. Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 had been covering the story and wanted to interview me about the family dispute that led to federal charges. "I don't usually do interviews," I told her over the phone, "but I have something you might find interesting. We met at a coffee shop near campus." Jennifer was younger than I expected, maybe early 30s, with sharp eyes and a recorder that she placed between us on the table. "Tell me about your relationship with your father," she began. "My father is a man who believes family exists to serve his interests. When that stopped working, he decided to teach me a lesson." "What kind of lesson?" I slid a flash drive across the table. "The kind where he brags to his friends about stealing from his own daughter to prove a point about hierarchy and respect." Jennifer plugged the drive into her laptop and listened to the audio. Her eyebrows climbed higher with each sentence. "This is him admitting to premeditated theft," she said. "It's him admitting that he stole my car to teach me a lesson about knowing my place. And it's him admitting that the whole thing was his wife's idea to humble me." "Are you willing to go on camera with this?" "Absolutely." The story aired that night during the 6 p.m. news. Exclusive, audio recording reveals motive behind local fraud case, ran with clips of the recording and my interview. "My father wanted to teach me about sacrifice and family loyalty," I said, looking directly into the camera. "What he actually taught me was that some people will steal from their own children and call it love. Well, I learned that lesson, and now he's learning mine." The audio went viral within hours. Someone uploaded it to TikTok with the caption, "Dad admits to stealing daughter's car to teach her respect." It had 50,000 views by midnight. The comments were savage. This man really recorded his own confession and didn't realize it. The audacity to call theft a life lesson. She's too soft to fight back. How's that working out for you now, Douglas? This is what happens when you underestimate your own kid. By morning, Dad Got Recorded was trending, and the story had been picked up by 3 national news outlets. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Sylvia's number. "You destroyed us," she screamed when I answered. "My family is ruined because of your vindictive little recording. Your family ruined itself when you decided to steal from me. It was just a car. It was my future, my independence, my proof that I could survive without you people. Douglas is talking about suicide. Are you happy now?" I hung up and blocked her number. Then I called Olivia. "Did you see the news?" I asked. "The whole country saw the news. How are you holding up?" "Better than expected. How much trouble is Dad in now?" "With this recording, he just confessed to premeditated fraud on national television. His lawyer is probably having a nervous breakdown." I looked out my window at students walking to class, living their normal lives, while mine played out on the evening news. "Good," I said. "Let him have a breakdown. I had mine 4 years ago when Mom died and he abandoned me. Now it's his turn." The foreclosure notice appeared on Dad's front door on a Wednesday morning. I wasn't there to see it, but Mrs. Henderson's neighborhood group chat provided live updates with photos. The official yellow paper looked stark against the white door of the house I'd grown up in. "Bank's giving them 30 days to vacate," Mrs. Henderson typed. Douglas came out in his bathrobe and just stared at it for 10 minutes. I screenshot the image and sent it to Athena with a single word: karma. Dad's sentencing hearing was scheduled for the following week. The federal prosecutor had offered him a plea deal, 3 years minimum security, in exchange for full restitution and cooperation in investigating other financial crimes at his firm. His lawyer advised him to take it. "He's looking at 8 to 10 years if this goes to trial," Olivia explained during our final meeting. The recording sealed his fate. Judges don't like defendants who brag about their crimes. "What about Sylvia and Beckett?" "Sylvia's facing 2 years for conspiracy and receiving stolen goods. Beckett got 18 months for the online fraud scheme, but he'll probably serve 6 months and get probation." "And the restitution?" Olivia smiled. "Every penny your father stole, plus interest, plus penalties. The court valued your mother's stolen identity theft at $127,000. Your car sale was another $8,000. Add in legal fees and damages, and they owe you approximately $150,000. Money they don't have. Money they'll be paying back for the rest of their lives. Their wages will be garnished, their assets seized, their credit destroyed. They'll be lucky to qualify for a studio apartment." I sat in Mom's cemetery that afternoon, reading her journal entries while Athena brought flowers, white roses, Mom's favorites. "Listen to this," I said, flipping to an entry from 6 months before she died. "Douglas thinks he's teaching Viviana to be tough by withholding his support, but he's actually teaching her to be independent. Someday he'll realize he created exactly the daughter he feared, one who doesn't need him at all." "Your mom was psychic," Athena said, arranging the roses on the headstone. "She knew him better than he knew himself." My phone buzzed with a notification from the scholarship office. The emergency grant I'd applied for had been approved. $5,000 for educational expenses, funded by a new program I'd helped establish, the Mayran Memorial Fund for Displaced Students. I'd use the money from Mom's secret account to seed the fund, then apply for matching grants from the university and local businesses. It provided emergency assistance to students whose families had cut them off or stolen from them. "Students like me," I'd written in the grant proposal, "students who need to know that their education matters, even when their families don't support them." The fund had already helped 12 students pay for textbooks, housing deposits, and emergency transportation. Each recipient got a card with Mom's photo and her favorite quote: "Justice is slow, but it never forgets." "You know what the best part is?" I told Athena as we walked back to campus. What? Dad spent so much energy trying to teach me lessons about respect and hierarchy and knowing my place. He succeeded. I learned exactly where I belong. And where's that? Anywhere, but with people who think love is conditional on obedience. My phone rang. Unknown number, but I recognized the area code. The county jail. This is a collect call from Douglas. Will you accept the charges? I looked at Athena, who shook her head vigorously. No, I told the automated system. I will not accept the charges. The call ended. 2 days before Dad's sentencing, I got a text from an unknown number. The house goes to auction next week. Thought you should know. Kelvin. Athena and I drove past the house that evening. A foreclosure auction sign had joined the collection of notices on the front lawn. The windows were dark, the driveway empty except for Dad's old BMW with a boot on the front wheel. You could buy it, Athena said. The auction estimate is only $180,000. You'll have the restitution money soon. I could, I agreed, but I won't. Why not? Because I don't want it. I don't want anything that reminds me of the person I was when I lived there. Small, scared, begging for scraps of approval from people who saw me as disposable. Instead, I had Athena bid on the house using a shell company we'd set up. She won it for $165,000, then immediately donated it to a nonprofit that converted foreclosed homes into transitional housing for domestic violence survivors. The local news covered the story. Anonymous donor converts foreclosed home into women's shelter. I never told them it was me. Dad got 4 years. Sylvia got 18 months. Beckett got probation and community service after agreeing to testify against his mother's involvement in the car theft. I changed my legal name the day after Dad's sentencing. Viviana Walton had a nice ring to it, honoring the woman who'd helped me fight back and the family that had actually supported me. The final twist came when I checked Sylvia's social media one last time. She'd posted a long, rambling message about healing and moving forward and learning from past mistakes. Some people come into our lives to teach us lessons about forgiveness and growth, she'd written. I'm grateful for this opportunity to become a better person. The comments were turned off. I screenshot the post and sent it to Athena with a laughing emoji. She's still trying to control the narrative, Athena replied. Let her. Everyone knows the truth now. I closed the app and deleted it from my phone. Some chapters of your life deserve to end with a period, not a question mark. The Marin Memorial Fund had grown to $50,000 in donations. 23 students had received assistance. And I was graduating summa cum laude with a full ride to law school. Justice might be slow, but it never forgets. And sometimes it comes with interest.